Hi guys, welcome back to a tutorial with me. Today we're going to be talking all about handstands and how to warm up your wrists. So for me, I am clearly not a pro at handstands yet, like most yogis on Instagram and social media. So I'm just going to show you guys how I've been kind of progressing in my own practice, the things that have been working for me, and the things that I think work really well when it comes to building up your handstand practice. Just to start, I'm going to show you guys a few wrist warm-ups. We won't be going through a flow sequence. I'm just going to show you a couple moves that I like to do on my mat when kind of grounding down with my hands and really trying to build strength and stability for my handstand. A lot of the times I like to practice my handstands at the gym just so I can just focus on handstands rather than putting it into my practice because it's not something I've mastered yet. And it can get really frustrating. So don't worry about the frustration that comes with any new thing that we start to learn. We just have to really learn how to breathe through it and know that we're going to get there as long as we keep practicing with patience and consistency. If you guys haven't downloaded my upper body strengthening ebook, I highly suggest uploading that ebook. It's free to download. This will help you build all the upper body strength you need. I'm just showing you guys a few of my favorite techniques and poses, kind of like in person, and maybe it's just the handstand journey you're trying to get on. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'll show you a few of my favorite wrist warm-ups to start. So if you want, you can just come down onto all fours, and we're going to just bring the hands forward. I just want you guys to start circling around. You can also kind of open up the toes here as well, whatever's feeling good. And then switch direction. So in handstands and pretty much any arm balance or back bend, we do really use our wrists. We're using our wrists a lot when it comes to our practice. So we're going to do an alternate palm placement here. So one palm's up and one palm is down. And we're just going to rock forward and backward here. And on the palm that's down, press through the fingertips, and then on the palm that's up, really try to press through those fingers as well down onto the mat. And as if you're reaching the top of your radius and your ulna out. That's your arm bones if you guys didn't know. So perfect. And then we'll switch. You can do around 5 to 10 breaths for each of these. Maybe even 10's pushing it, but yeah, just do around 5 breaths here, maybe like 20 to 30 seconds each one. Perfect, and then we'll release. And then we'll just come down, and I'm going to do both palms up, and you can kind of just rock back and forth here, nice and gently. Perfect, and then we're just going to bring the palms so the fingertips are pointing to the sides of our mat. We'll just go around in circles again. Perfect, and then pause. And then you can start to just roll those wrists around in circles. Usually in any class that I teach, we always start with wrist rolls. So with handstands, it requires a lot of upper body strength as well as a lot of core strength. And one thing a lot of people didn't tell me was it requires a lot of hamstring and hip flexibility as well. And stability. So honestly, everything's working when we're upside down. Really focus on your folds because those are going to help you build the flexibility you need to get into a handstand. Because if we're practicing our handstand and we need to pop up, we need one foot down, one leg up, and pop. And that does require a lot of hamstring flexibility as well. So we're going to go ahead and do some small walks. These are my absolute favorite to do in any class that I teach. So we're going to take a nice slow walk to the front of our mat. Really lift the hips up. We're lifting the feet off of the mat and engaging our core to lift up. And you're pressing into your palms. You're pressing nice and deep into your palms, almost like you're trying to float up into your hands. And if you're there yet, depending on your flexibility, try to bring those toes towards your wrists. You can do a couple wrist taps here. That'll engage your core as well. Coming down onto the forearms, another technique that I like to use is our dolphin pose. So you can always start in downward dog to come into dolphin. And then you're just going to gently bring the elbows down towards the mat. Our arms are still about shoulder width apart. You can have the palms pointed towards each other. And then just start to walk those feet in. This is a really tricky pose because it requires a lot of lower back flexibility, hamstring flexibility, and also in our calves as well. And here we're putting almost all of our weight is going into our forearms and into our feet. Hardly anything is in our feet. It's all going up into our upper body. So pressing the hips up. And you can pedal the legs. You can challenge yourself and try to do like one leg up, almost like a three-legged dolphin. I highly suggest learning forearm stand before your handstand. It's really going to help you kind of build that awareness of being upside down on just two limbs. Rather, if you're in a headstand, you have your limbs and your head to hold you up. And in forearm stand, you only have your elbows and your hands. And then eventually we're going to move into just hands. So that's how I kind of see it as being the best way to progress into handstands. Another pose I really like to practice for my handstand is my crow. So a lot of people know crow. That's where you bring the knees towards the tops of the arms. When we're pressing in, you can just gently release one foot at a time if you need to. And then just try straightening those arms out as best you can. And you can play around with that as well. So that's a really great one to practice. Okay, so I have to move my lamp for this next one. So if you have a wall space, we're going to go ahead and do some wall walks. This is the one thing that has definitely been changing my handstand game. It really helps you build that strength you need in your upper body to be actually upside down. It kind of changed everything because I thought popping up would be easy. It was getting easier, but once I brought the wall walks into my practice, it made it a lot more challenging because I actually had to really rely on just my upper body to hold me up. So we're going to go ahead and practice some wall walks. I'm going to show you a few different ways to do them. If you have been upside down a couple times before, this might be a little bit easier. Otherwise, I want you guys to only go as far as you feel comfortable. So you can start in a high plank, and you're going to start next to a wall, so the wall behind me. And then I want you to start walking the hands up, start reaching the feet up the wall, and walking the hands back, and back. And if you want to add a push-up, why not? If you aren't confident in your wall walk, you can go ahead and just do inchworms if you don't feel comfortable enough going there. So inchworms, high plank, walk the hands back to the feet, and walk them back down. You can do that a couple times at your own pace. Maybe take it nice and slow. Maybe add a push-up at the end. And then I'm going to show you one more wall walk variation. So instead of going all the way up the wall, you can just walk the feet up the wall where you feel comfortable. Maybe this is enough for you here. Feel free to stay here. And then maybe walk the feet down. And you can also just do a type of handstand that added a perpendicular angle here. I know it's kind of tough to see on the video, but there's some wrist warm-ups. There's some ideas to kind of get into your handstand practice. You'll find a lot more in my upper body strengthening ebook. That'll really, really help you get you to where you want to be. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.